Hey everyone, this is Ms. Cagle, and this is the video for Unit 6 Job Research Field Interview. If you are watching this in a different semester, obviously the dates are going to be different in the unit breakdown, but I'm still going to go over that because the information will still be the same. For this unit, it is 2 weeks, so the first week you're going to focus on setting up your interview, and the second week you will focus on making sure that you're doing your follow-up assignments and getting your field report written. So let's go over the unit breakdown. We need to make sure that you are looking at the guidelines, reading notes, and viewing videos and the interview skill notes. You need to make sure you're doing this, which is watching the lecture video and completing the quick write. And then making sure that you're working on scheduling and conducting an interview with a professional in your field. I'll go over that in a minute. You'll need to complete a pre-interview activity. You will need to complete an interview and submit a follow interview up by a very specific deadline. If it is not submitted by that deadline, it will be late. There will be a reflection, and then finally your field interview memo report. So let's go over kind of what Moodle is going to look like here. Guidelines look here. Lecture video, this is where Secret Word 11 is going to go in. Quick write, pre-interview activity. Let's go over that first. So if you open that, and you open this sheet here, let's get that pulled up for you. You need to go ahead and by the Thursday deadline for your semester, it's going to have a date on here. I'm not sure why. Ignore this date. It is whatever the date is in the semester that you are completing this. So for your pre-interview activity, I want you to go ahead and figure out by this date who you're interviewing, where they're employed, why you're choosing this person, and go ahead and write your 8 to 10 questions you will be asking them. This needs to be turned in. That way you can ensure that you are getting this stuff set up and ready to go. Oops, I hit the wrong button. All right, let's go back here. So that's going to be what is due at the end of the first week on Sunday of this unit. So you have the first week to figure out who you're interviewing and come up with the questions. Now, for the second week, that is when you need to have your interview done. You must have your interview and your follow-up email sent by the Thursday of that week. And that way, it ensures that you have enough time to write and submit your field report. So you will have to do a follow-up email after it. You're going to need to send an actual email and then either copy and paste it or turn in a screenshot that you sent your interviewee to thank them for the opportunity to interview them. It should be grammatically correct. It should follow appropriate email guidelines that you learned in Unit 1. If you cannot remember what those are, go back to Unit 1 and figure that out. Our secret word for this particular video is be professional. That is the phrase in order to get credit. Please do not simply turn off the video here and continue to watch it, but our phrase is be professional. This will not be accepted late. If you turn in an email and the date of the email, because you have to turn in the screenshot of the email you sent your interviewee. If that date is after the due date stated in your unit breakdown, it will still be a 0. You have to be professional and you have to make sure that you're sending these emails in an appropriate time frame. All right, let's go back. I know I'm probably going through this quickly, but a lot of this is just just reading comprehension. You will need to do an interview reflection just to kind of tell me about who you interviewed and why and what did you learn from your interview, that kind of stuff. And then lastly, you're going to turn in your field interview assignment. I'm going to go over those directions for you, and then I'm going to show you the student sample. So this needs to be done in memo format. So once you've get ready to interview them, you're ready to type your field report. This is done in memo format. So if you don't remember how to do a proper memo with an abstract, a body, and a conclusion, refer back to chapter 1.4. The memo should be addressed to me as your instructor. Your memo should be approximately 1 to 2 pages in length, single space the paragraphs and then a space in between. Using these specific headings and labels, you will need an introduction, which is going to introduce me to who you are interviewing and why. The summary of the interview is the questions and the answers. Please make sure these are grammatically correct. And then a conclusion that explains what you've learned from that interview process. So that is the requirements. So let's go and look at the student sample. So before we get into that, some things about the interview. You are choosing to interview any person that is in the field of choice that you would like to pursue when you graduate from college. That could be something you're already doing. That could be something in the future. It can be a professor of one of the classes that you really enjoy that's actually in your major. It can be a family member of someone that works. So like, for example, my husband works at Thomas Built Buses, and so does his dad. So he could have interviewed his dad about working there. The main thing is that you are completing an interview. This cannot be done via email. It cannot be done over the phone. You must get the interview done in person. COVID is over. There is no reason why you cannot schedule an interview. You have 2 weeks to do this. So there's also no reason why this interview is not done and turned in on time. All right. So let's look at the sample. Let's pull this up. So at the top here, you have the word memorandum. You have a date to me from that person. And then it is the field interview summary report is the subject. We have our introduction here, why you are interviewing that person and what you've learned from them. You have a summary of the interview here, which tells me who you interviewed, when, and what their credentials are. And then you have questions and your responses and grammatically correct. And then lastly, a conclusion of what you learned. So that is this particular unit. Like I said, you have 2 weeks. So do make sure that you get this done on time. As I mentioned before,